Bandeham Shri Guru Shiyata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parajana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishakam Vitam Sya Om Jnana Timarandasya Gyanajana Shilakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhistam Supurakam Guraganara Sesha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govinda Bidam Ujwalam Bharatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Mande Vishwa Gurun Shah Divyad Bhagavad Prem Noi Bija Pradam Devam Divyatanum Suchandavaranam Balarkachelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sarekavaranam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Bandetam Shubhadam Madeka Sharanam Nyashishwara Sridharam Sri Siddhanta Saraswati Vidito Gaudiya Gauravanvai Pato Banoriva Prabhata Gagane Yogara Sankirtanai Mayavada Tamingilo Daragatanu Dritya Jivaniman Krishna Prema Sudabdi Gahana Sukam Pradat Prabhum Tammaje Vanshakopatarubyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevaja Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratabhishe Namah. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, with translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is the Antya-lila, Chapter 1. Srila Rupa Goswami's second meeting with the Lord. Pangum langayate shailam mukam avartayet shrutim yat kripatam hambande Krishna Chaitanyam Ishwaram. I offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose mercy even a lame man can cross over a mountain and a dumb man may recite Vedic literature. Durgame pati mendasya skalat para gatermuhu swakripa yashti danena santa sandvalam santa sandvavalambanam. My path is very difficult. I am blind and my feet are slipping again and again. Therefore, may the saints help me by granting me the stick of their mercy as my support. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Raghunath, H.I. Gurur Karun Charana Bandhan, Jahoite Bignana Shabishta Puran. I pray to the lotus feet of the six Goswamis, Shri Rupa, Sanatan, Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva, Gopal Bhatta, and Dasha Raghunath, so that all my impediments to my writing this literature will be annihilated and my real desire will be fulfilled. If one wants to benefit the entire world, he will certainly find persons like hogs and pigs who will put forward many impediments. That is natural, but if a devotee seeks shelter at the lotus feet of the six Goswamis, the merciful Goswamis will certainly give the Lord's servitor all protection. It is not astounding that many impediments are placed before those who are spreading the Krishna conscious movement all over the world. Nevertheless, if we adhere to the lotus feet of the six Goswamis and pray for their mercy, all impediments will be annihilated and the transcendental devotional desire to serve the Lord will be fulfilled. Jayatam surato pangor mama manda matergati matsarvasva parambojo radhamadana mohano. Glory to the all-merciful Radha and Madan Mohan. I am lame and ill-advised, yet they are my directors, and their lotus feet are everything to me. Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumad Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prashtalibi Sevyamano Smarami. In a temple of jewels in Vrindaban, underneath a desire tree, Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, served by their most confidential associates, sit upon an effulgent throne. I offer my humble obeisances unto them. Shiman Rasa Rasarambi Vamshivata Tatastita Karshan Venu Svanar Gopir Gopinata Shriyestuna. Sri Srila Gopinath, who originated the transcendental mellow of the rasa dance, stands on the shore at Vamshivat and attracts the attention of the cowherd damsels with the sound of his celebrated flute. May they all confer upon us their benediction. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaurabhakta Vrinda. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Sri Nityananda Prabhu, all glories to Sri Advaita Acharya, and all glories to all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Madhya-lila Sankepate Madhya-lila Sankepate Korilu Varnan Antya-lila Varnan Kichu Shuna Bhaktagan. I have briefly described the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu known as the Madhya-lila. Now I shall attempt to describe something about his last pastimes, which are known as the Antya-lila. Madhya-lila Madhye Antya-lila Sutragan Purvagrante Sankepate Koryache Gvarnan. I have briefly described the Antya-lila within the description of the Madhya-lila. Amijara Grashta Nikate Janiya Maran Antya Kon Lila Koryache Varnan. I am now almost an invalid because of old age, and I know that at any moment I may die. Therefore, I have already described some portions of the Antya-lila. Following in the footsteps of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, I am trying to translate Srimad Bhagavatam as quickly as possible. However, knowing myself to be an old man and almost an invalid because of rheumatism, I have already translated the essence of all literatures, the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, as a summary study in English. I started the Krishna conscious movement at the age of 70. Now I am 78, and so my death is imminent. I'm trying to finish the translation of Srimad Bhagavatam as soon as possible, but before finishing it, I have given my readers the book Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so that if I die before finishing the whole task, they may enjoy this book, which is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. Purva Likita Granta Sutra Anusare Jainahi Liki Taha Liki Ebistare. In accordance with the synopsis previously written, I shall describe in detail whatever I have not mentioned. Vrindavana Hoite Prabhu Nila Chaliaila Swarup Gosai Gore Bharta Pataila. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Jagannath Puri from Vrindaban, Swarup Damodar immediately sent news of the Lord's arrival to the devotees in Bengal. Shuni Sachi Anandita Sabhabhaktagan Sabimili Nilachale Korila Gaman. Upon hearing this news, Mother Sachi and all the other devotees of Navadip were very joyful, and they all departed together for Nilachala Jagannath Puri. Kulina Grami Bhakta Arjata Kandabasi Acharya Shivananda Sane Milila Sabayashi. Thus all the devotees of Kulinagram and Shrikanda, as well as Advaita Acharya, came together to meet Sivananda Sena. Sivananda Kore Sabar Gati Samadan Sabare Palana Kore Deyabasastan. Sivananda Sena arranged for the journey. He maintained everyone and provided residential quarters. Ek kukura chale Sivananda Sena Bhakya diya loya chale Koriya palane. While going to Jagannath Puri, Sivananda Sena allowed the dog to go with him. He supplied it food to eat and maintained it. Ek din ek stane nadi parahoite uriya nabika kurkur na chadaya nogate. One day when they needed to cross a river, an Orison boatman would not allow the dog to enter into the boat. He would not allow the dog to get in the boat. Kurkura rohila Sivananda duki hoila Yashapana kadi diya kurkure parakoila. Sivananda Sen, unhappy that the dog had to stay behind, paid the boatman 10 pan of conch shells to take the dog across the river. One pan is 80 kodis, or small conch shells. Formerly, even 50 or 60 years ago, there was no paper currency in India. Coins were generally made not of base metal, but of gold, silver, and copper. In other words, the medium of exchange was really something valuable. 4 pieces of kadi made 1 ganda, and 20 such gandas equaled 1 pana. The kadi was also used as a medium of exchange. Therefore, Sivananda Sen paid for the dog with dash pana, or 80 times 10 pieces of kadi. In those days, 1 paish was also subdivided into small conch shells. But at the present moment, the prices for commodities have gone so high that there is nothing one can get in exchange for only 1 pice. With 1 pice in those days, however, one could purchase sufficient vegetables to provide for a whole family. Even 30 years ago, vegetables were occasionally so inexpensive that 1 pice worth could provide for a whole family for a day. Ek din Sivanande gati jale rakila kurkura ke bata dite sevaka pasarila. One day while Sivananda was detained by a tollman, his servant forgot to give the dog its cooked rice. Ratriyashi Sivananda Bojanera Kale Kurkura Payanche Bata Sevake Puchile. At night, when Sivananda Sen returned and was taking his meal, he inquired from the servant whether the dog had gotten its meal. Kurkura nahi pai bata shuni duka hoila kurkura chahite dasha manusha pataila. When he learned that the dog had not been supplied food in his absence, he was very unhappy. He then immediately sent 10 men to find the dog. Chahiya na paila kurkur loka sabadila duke hoya Sivananda upavasa koila. When the men returned without success, Sivananda Sen became very unhappy and fasted for the night. Prabhate kurkura chahe kahana paila sakala Vaishnavara mane chamatkara hoila. In the morning they looked for the dog, but it could not be found anywhere. All the Vaishnavas were astonished. Sivananda Sen's attachment to the dog was a great boon for that animal. The dog appears to have been a street dog, since it naturally began to follow Sivananda Sen while he was going to Jagannath Puri with his party. He accepted it into his party and maintained it the same way he was maintaining the other devotees. It appears that although on one occasion the dog was not allowed aboard a boat, Sivananda did not leave the dog behind but paid more money just to induce the boatman to take the dog across the river. Then when the servant forgot to feed the dog and the dog disappeared, Sivananda, being very anxious, sent 10 men to find it. When they could not find it, Sivananda observed a fast. Thus it appears that somehow or other Sivananda had become attached to the dog. As will be evident from the following verses, The dog got the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and was immediately promoted to Vaikuntha to become an eternal devotee. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has therefore sung, Tumi Thakur Tomara Kurkura Bolia Janahamore. He thus offers to become the dog of a Vaishnava. There are many other instances in which the pet animal of a Vaishnava was delivered back home to Vaikuntha Loka, back to God, such as the benefit of somehow or other becoming the favorite of a Vaishnava. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has also sung, Kita Janma Hau Jata Tuya Dasha. There is no harm in taking birth again and again. Our only desire should be to take birth under the care of a Vaishnava. Fortunately, we had the opportunity to be born of a Vaishnava father who took care of us very nicely. He prayed to Srimati Radharani that in the future we would become a servant of the eternal consort of Sri Krishna. Thus, somehow or other, we are now engaged in that service. We may conclude that even as dogs, we must take shelter of a Vaishnava. The benefit will be the same as that which accrues to an advanced devotee under a Vaishnava's care. Utkantaya chali sabe aila nilat chale purvavat Mahaprabhu milila sakale. Thus in great anxiety they all walked to Jagannath Puri, where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met them as usual. Sabaloya koila Jagannath darshan, Sabaloya Mahaprabhu korana bojan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went with them to see the Lord in the temple, and on that day he also took lunch in the company of all those devotees. Purvavat sabare prabhu patailabasastane prabhutai pratakale aila aradine. As previously, the Lord provided them all with residential quarters, and the next morning all the devotees came to see the Lord. Asiya dekila sabe seta kore prabhu pashe basi jache kichu alpadure. When all the devotees came to the place of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they saw the same dog sitting a little apart from the Lord. Prashada narikela sasya dena filaya Ramakrishna Hari Kaha Bolena Hasya. Furthermore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was throwing remnants of green coconut pulp to the dog. Smiling in his own way, he was saying to the dog, chant the holy names Rama, Krishna, and Hari. Sashyakai Kurkura Krishna Kohe Bar Bar Dekya Lokara Mane Hoila Chamatkar. Sing the dog eating the green coconut pulp and chanting Krishna, Krishna again and again. All the devotees present were very surprised. Sivananda Kurkur Deki and Dandavat Koila Shunya Kori Nija Aparada Kamaila. When he saw the dog sitting in that way and chanting the name of Krishna, Sivananda, because of his natural humility, immediately offered his obeisances to the dog just to counteract his offenses to it. Aradin kehotara dekana paila sidadeho paya kurkura vaikunte tegela. The next day no one saw the dog, for it had obtained its spiritual body and departed for Vaikuntha, the spiritual kingdom. This is the result of sadhu sangha, consequent association with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and promotion back to home, back to Godhead. This result is possible even for a dog by the mercy of the Vaishnava. Therefore, everyone in the human form of life should be induced to associate with devotees by rendering a little service, even by eating prasadam. What to speak of chanting and dancing? Everyone can be promoted to Vaikuntha Loka. It is therefore requested that all our devotees in ISKCON community become pure Vaishnavas, so that by their mercy all the people of the world will be transferred to Vaikuntha Loka even without their knowledge. Everyone should be given a chance to take prasadam and thus be induced to chant the holy name of the holy names Hare Krishna and also dance in ecstasy. By these three processes, although performed without knowledge or education, even an animal went back to Godhead. So we also are of the vow to help in this, and giving mercy to everyone and giving them prasadam and chanting and dancing in ecstasy. Achi divya lila kore sachiranandan kurkurake krishna kahan korila mochan. Such are the transcendental pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Mother Sachi. He even delivered a dog simply by inducing it to chant the Mahamantra Hare Krishna. Ita Prabhu Agyaya Rupa Ila Vrindaban Krishna Lila Nata Korite Hoilaman. Meanwhile, following the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Rupa Goswami returned to Vrindaban. He desired to write dramas concerning the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Vrindavane Natakera Aramba Korila Mangala Charana Nandi Shloka Tatailikila. In Vrindavan, Rupa Goswami began to write a drama. In particular, he composed the introductory verses to invoke good fortune. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur quotes from the Nataka Chandrika, wherein it is written, Prastavanayas tu mukhe nandik karya shubhavaha ashir namaskriya bastu nirdeshan yata manvita ashtabir dashabir jukta kimva dwadashabi bhadai chandra Namankita prayo mangalarta padojwala mangalam chakra kamala chakora kumudadikam. Similarly, in the 6th chapter of the Sahitya Darpan, it is said, Ashirvachana samayukta stutir yasmat prayujate devadvija nripadinam Tasmanan Diti Samgita. The introductory portion of a drama which is written to invoke good fortune is called Nandi Shloka. Pate Chalyai Shinata Kera Gatana Babite Karacha Koriya Kichu Lagila Likite. On his way to Gaudiya, Rupa Goswami had been thinking of how to write the action of the drama. Thus he made some notes and began to write. Emate Dui Bai Gaudiya Deshaila Gaudiya Shi Anupamera Ganga Prapti Hoila. In this way, the two brothers Rupa and Anupama reached Bengal, but when they arrived there, Anupama died. Formerly, when a person died, it was commonly said that he had attained the shelter of Mother Ganges, even if he did not die in the banks of the Ganges. It is customary among Hindus to carry a dying person to a nearby bank of the Ganges, for if one dies on the bank of the Ganges, his soul is considered to reach the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, wherefrom the Ganges flows. Rupa Gosai Prabhu Pashe Korelagaman Prabhure Dekite Tara Utkanti Taman. Rupa Goswami then departed to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for he was very eager to see him. Anupamera Lage Tara Kichu Vilam Hoila Bhaktagana Pashaila Lagna Paila. There was some delay because of the death of Anupama, and therefore, when Rupa Goswami went to Bengal to see the devotees there, he could not get in touch with them because they had already left. Udiya Deshe Satyabhama Puranamegrama. Ek ratri se grame korila vishrama. In the province of Orissa, there is a place known as Satyabhamapur. Srila Rupa Goswami rested for a night in that village on his way to Jagannath Puri. There is a place known as Satyabhamapur in the district of Cuttack in Orissa. It is near the village known as Jankadepura. Ratri swapne deke ek divya rupa nari samuke ashiya agya dila bahu kripa kori. While resting in Satyabhamapur, he dreamed that a celestially beautiful woman came before him and very mercifully gave him the following order. Amara nataka prita koraha Rochan Amara Kripate Natak Hoibe Vilakan. Write a separate drama about me, she said. By my mercy it will be extraordinarily beautiful. Swapna deki Rupa Gosai Korila Vichar Satyabhamar Agyaprita Nataka Koribar. After having that dream, Srila Rupa Goswami considered, it is the order of Satyabhama that I write a separate drama for her. Brajapur Lila Ekatra Koriyache Gatan Duibaga Kori Ebe Korimu Rachan. I have brought together in one work all the pastimes performed by Lord Krishna in Vrindaban and in Dwarka. Now I shall have to divide them into two dramas. Bhavite Bhavite Shigra Aila Nilachale Ashi Uttarila Haridas Rasa Stale. Thus absorbed in thought, he quickly reached Jagannath Puri. When he arrived, he approached the hut of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur Thare Bahu Kripa Koila Tumi Ashibe More Prabhu Jai Kohila. Out of affectionate love and mercy, Haridas Thakur told Srila Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already informed me that you would come here. Upalabhog deki Haridas Ere dekite Pratidina Aishena Prabhu Aila Achambite. After seeing the Upalabhog ceremony at the Jagannath Temple, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would regularly come to see Haridas every day. Thus he suddenly arrived there. Rupa Dandavat Kori Haridas Kohila Haridas Emili Prabhu Rupe Alingya. When the Lord arrived, Rupa Goswami immediately offered his obeisances. Haridas informed the Lord, "This is Rupa Goswami offering you obeisances," and the Lord embraced him. Haridas Rupe Loya Prabhu Basila Ekstane Kushala Prashna Ishta Goshti Koila Katakane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then sat down with Haridas and Rupa Goswami. They inquired from one another about auspicious news and then continued to talk together for some time. Sanataner Bharta Jabe Gosai Puchila Rupa Kohe Tarasange Deka Nahoila. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired about Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami replied, "I did not meet him. Ami Gangapate Ailana Tiho Rajapate Ateva Amar Deka Nahila Tarasate." I came by the path on the bank of the Ganges, whereas Sanatana Goswami came by the public road. Therefore, we did not meet. Prayage Shuniyun Teho Gela Vrindabane Anupamera Ganga Prapti Koila Nivedane. In Prayag I heard that he had already gone to Vrindaban. Rupa Goswami next informed the Lord about the death of Anupama. Rupe Tahan Vashadiya Chaitanya Kosaira Sangi Bhakta Rupere Milila. After allotting residential quarters there to Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left. Then all the Lord's personal associates met Srila Rupa Goswami. Aradin Mahaprabhu Sabbakta Loya Rupe Milaila Sabai Kripata Koriya. On the next day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again met Rupa Goswami, and with great mercy the Lord introduced him to all the devotees. Sabar Charana Rupa Korila Bandhan Kripa Kori Rupe Sabe Koila Alingan. Srila Rupa Goswami offered his respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of them all, and all the devotees by their mercy embraced him. Advaita Nityananda Tomar Duijane Prabhu Kohe Rupe Kripa Kora Kayamane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu, you should both show your mercy wholeheartedly to Rupa Goswami. Toma duhara kripate ihara hoy hao taiche shakti jate bishva jate bibarite paran Krishna rasa bhakti. May Rupa Goswami, by your causeless mercy, become so powerful that he will be able to describe the transcendental mellows of devotional service. Krishna rasa bhakti. And he can describe that. Krishna rasa bhakti. Gaudiya Jata Prabhur Bhaktagan Sabar Hoila Rupa Snehara Bhajan. Thus Rupa Goswami became the object of love and affection for all the devotees of the Lord, including those who came from Bengal and those who resided in Orissa. Pratidina she rupe korana milane mandire je prasad pai dena duijane. Every day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go to see Rupa Goswami. Whatever prasadam he received from the temple, he would deliver to Rupa Goswami and Haridas Thakur. Ishtagoshti duhas sanikori katakan Majjana korite Prabhu korilagaman. He would talk for some time with them both and then leave to perform his noontime duties. Emata pratidin Prabhur Vyabhahar Prabhu Kripa Paya Ruper Ananda Apar. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dealings with them continued every day, thus receiving the transcendental favor of the Lord. Srila Rupa Goswami felt unlimited pleasure. Bhaktagan Loya Koila Gundicha Marjan Aitota Ashi Koila Banya Bojan. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taking all his devotees with him, performed the Gundicha Marjan, washing and cleansing of the Gundicha temple. He went to the garden known as Aitota and accepted prasadam at a picnic within the garden. Prasadakai Hari Bole Sarva Bhaktajan Deki Haridas Ruper Harashitaman. When Haridas Thakur and Rupa Goswami saw that all the devotees were accepting prasadam and chanting the holy name of Hari, they both were greatly pleased. Govinda Dwara Prabhu Sesha Prasad Paila Premimata Dui Jan Nachite Lagila. When they received the remnants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prasadam through Govinda, they respected it, and then they both began to dance in ecstasy. Aradin Prabhu Rupe Milia Basila Sarvagya Shiromani Prabhu Kohite Lagila. On the next day, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to see Srila Rupa Goswami, the omniscient Lord spoke as follows. Krishnare Bahiranahi Korea Braja Hoite Raja Chade Krishna Kabuna Janakahate. Do not try to take Krishna out of Vrindaban, for he does not go anywhere else at any time. Krishnonyo yadu sambuto japurna soschanta para Vrindabanam parityaja nakwachinaiva gacchati. The Krishna known as Yadu Kumar is Vasudeva Krishna. He is different from the Krishna who is the son of Nanda Maharaj. Yadu Kumar Krishna manifests his pastimes in the cities of Mathura and Dwarka, but Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, never at any time leaves Vrindaban. Etako Hema Prabhu Madhyane Chalila Rupa Gosai Manikechu Vishmoy Hoila. After saying this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to perform his noontime duties, leaving Srila Rupa Goswami somewhat surprised. Pritak Nataka Korite Satyabhama Agya-lila Janilun Pritak Natak Korite Prabhu Agya Hoila. Satyabhama ordered me to write 2 different dramas, Srila Rupa Goswami thought. Now I understand that this order has been confirmed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purve Dui Natak Chila Ekatra Rachan Duibaga Koriebe Korimu Gatana. Purve Duinatak Chila Ekatra Rachana Duibaga Koriebe Korimu Gataya. Korimu Gatana. Formerly I wrote the 2 dramas as one composition. Now I shall divide it and describe the incidents in 2 separate works. Dui Nandi Prastavan Dui Samgatan Prita Korea Liki Korea Bhavan. I shall write two separate invocations of good fortune and 2 different introductions. Let me think deeply about the matter and then describe 2 different sets of incidents. I shall write 2 separate invocations of good fortune and 2 different introductions. Let me think deeply about the matter and then describe 2 different sets of incidents. The 2 works are the Vidagdha Madhava and the Lalita Madhava. The Vidagdha Madhava describes pastimes in Vrindaban, and the Lalita Madhava describes pastimes in Dwarka and Mathura. Rata Jatrai Jagannath Darshan Korila Rata Agre Prabhur Nritya Kirtana Dekila. During the Ratha Yatra ceremony, Rupa Goswami saw Lord Jagannath. He also saw Mahaprabhu dancing and chanting in front of the Rath. Prabhura Nritya Shloka Shuni Sri Rupa Gosai Say Shlokartaloya Shloka Koriya Naka Korila Tatai Prabhura Nritya Shloka Shuni Sri Rupa Goswami say Shlokarta Loya Shloka Korila Tatai. When Rupa Goswami heard a verse uttered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during the ceremony, he immediately composed another verse dealing with the same subject. Purvise sab kata koriyache varnan tatapi kohye kichu sankepe katan. I have already described all these incidents, but I still wish to add briefly something more. Samanya ek shloka prabhu parana kirtane keni shloka pade iha keho nahi jane. Generally, Mahaprabhu recited a verse while dancing and chanting before the Rath, but no one knew why he was reciting that particular verse. Sabe ek swarup gosai shlokararta jane shloka nurupera para prabhuke karana ashwarane. Generally, Mahaprabhu recited a verse while dancing and chanting before the Rath, but no one knew why he was reciting that particular verse. Only Swarup Damodar knew the purpose for which the Lord recited that verse. According to the Lord's attitude, he used to quote some other verses to enable the Lord to relish mellows. Rupa Gosai Prabhupada Janiya Abhipray Se Arte Shloka Koila Prabhupada Jaibai. Rupa Goswami, however, could understand the intention of the Lord, and thus he composed another verse that appealed to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jo Komara Harasa Eva Ivarasta Eva Chaitra Chapas Te Chonmilita Malati Surabhagya Yo Kumara Harasa Eva Ivarasta Eva Chaitra Chapas Te Chonmilita Malati Surabhaya Proda Kadambanila Sachaiva Smita Tapi Tatra Surata Vyapara Lila Vido Reva Rodasi Vedasi Taru Thale Chata Samut Kantate. That very personality who stole my heart during my youth is now again my master. These are the same moonlit nights of the month of Chaitra. The same fragrance of malati flowers is there, and the same sweet breezes are blowing from the Kadamba forest. In our intimate relationship, I am also the same lover, yet still my mind is not happy here. I am eager to go back to that place on the bank of the Reva, under the Vedasi tree. That is my desire. Priyasoyam Krishna Sahachari Kuruketras Militas Tataham Sa Radha Taraham Radha Taridam Ubayo Sangama Sukam Tatapiyanta Kelan Madhura Murali Panchamajushe Mano me kalindi pulina vipinaya spriyayati. My dear friend, now I have met my very old and dear friend Krishna on this field of Kurukshetra. I am the same Radharani, and now we are meeting together. It is very important, but I would still like to go to the bank of the Jamuna, beneath the trees of the forest there. I wish to hear the vibration of his sweet flute playing the fifth note within the forest of Vrindaban. Talapatre shloka liki chalete rakila samudra snana koribare Rupa Gosai Gela. After writing this verse on the palm leaf, Rupa Goswami put it somewhere in his thatch roof and went to bathe in the sea. So he wrote the parallel verse of what Mahaprabhu was citing. Rupa Goswami wrote, Priya Soyam Krishna Sahachari Kuru Ketras Militas Tataham Sa Radha Taridam Ubayo Sangama Zukam Tatapi Anta Kelan Madhura Murali Panchama Jushe Mano Me Kulindi Pulina Vipinaya Spriyayati. So, my dear friend, now I have met my very old and dear friend Krishna on the bank, on the field of Kurukshetra. I am the same Radharani, and now we are meeting together. It is very pleasant, but I would still like to go to the bank of the Jamuna beneath the trees of the forest there. I wish to hear the vibration of his sweet flute playing the sixth note within that forest of Vrindaban. That's the verse of Rupa Goswami. Talapatri shloka liti chalete rakila samudra snana koribare Rupa Gosai Gela. After reciting this verse on the palm leaf, Rupa Goswami put it somewhere in his thatch roof and went to bathe in the sea. Hinakale Prabhu Aila Tahare Milite Chali Shloka Deki Prabhu Lagila Parite. At that time, Mahaprabhu went there to meet him, and when he saw the leaf pushed into the roof and saw the verse, he began to read it. Shloka Pari. There was a thatch roof, and Rupa Goswami had left that verse that was written on the palm leaf. When the Lord, at that time the Lord went to meet him, and when he saw the leaf pushed into the roof, saw the verse, he began to read it. Shloka Pari Prabhu Suke Prima Vishta Hoila Henekale Rupa Gosai Snana Koriaila. After reading the verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was overwhelmed by ecstatic love. At that very time, Rupa Goswami returned, having finished bathing in the sea. Prabhu Deki Dandavad, Prangane Parila, Prabhu Tare Chaparamari, Kohete Lagila. Seeing the Lord, Srila Rupa Goswami fell flat in the courtyard to offer his obeisances. The Lord slapped him mildly in love and spoke as follows. Guda Mora Ridaya Tui Janila Kemone Etakahi Rupe Koila Dridalingane. My heart is very confidential. How did you know my mind in this way? After saying this, he firmly embraced Rupa Goswami. Say Shloka Loya Prabhu Swarupe Dekaila Swarupera Parika Lagi Tahare Puchila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took that verse and showed it to Swarup Damodar for him to examine. Then the Lord questioned him. Mora Antar Bharta Rupa Janila Kemone Sarup Kohe Jani Kripa Kuriyache Apane. How could Rupa Goswami have understood my heart? The Lord asked. Swarup Damodar replied, I can understand that you have already bestowed your causeless mercy upon him. Anyata e artakora nahi hoy gyan tumi purve kripa koila koriyanuman. No one could otherwise understand this meaning. I can therefore guess that previously you bestowed upon him your causeless mercy. Prabhu kohe iho amai prayage milila jogyapatra jane iha mora kripa tahoila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, Rupa Goswami met me at Prayag. Knowing him to be a suitable person, I naturally bestowed my mercy upon him. Tabe Shakti Sanchari Ame Koilun Upadesh Tumia Kahio Ihai Rasera Visesh. I therefore also bestowed upon him my transcendental potency. Now you also should give him instructions. In particular, instruct him in transcendental mellows. Swarup kohe jatiye shloka dekilun tumi koriyacha kripa tabahe chanilu. Swarup Damodar said, as soon as I saw the unique composition of this verse, I could immediately understand that you had bestowed upon him your special mercy. Phala karanam anumiyate. By seeing a result, one can understand the cause of that result. This is from the doctrines of Nyaya or logic. Svarga Poga Hema Mrinalinam Nanam Rinala Gra Bhajama Ananurupam Tanu Rupa Ridim Karyam Niranad Di Gunan Adite. The river Ganges flows in the heavenly planets. The river Ganges flowing in the heavenly planets is full of golden lotus flowers, and we, the residents of those planets, eat the stems of the flowers. Thus we are very beautiful, more so than the inhabitants of any other planet. This is due to the law of cause and effect. For if one eats food in the mode of goodness, the mode of goodness increases the beauty of his body. Chaturmasya Rohe Gore Vaishnava Chalila Rupa Goswami Mahaprabhu Charane Rohila. After the 4 months of the Chaturmasya, Shravan, Bhadra, Ashwin, and Kartik, all the Vaishnavas of Bengal returned to their homes, but Srila Rupa Goswami remained in Jagannath Puri under the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when Mahaprabhu saw the verse composed by Rupa Goswami, he was very surprised. And then he showed it to Swarup Damodar, and he said, how could Rupa Goswami have understood my heart? And Swarup Damodar replied, I can understand that you have already bestowed your causeless mercy upon him. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible to understand the meaning of what Mahaprabhu was singing during Ratha Yatra. Mahaprabhu replied, yes, I met Rupa Goswami at Prayag because I knew him to be very qualified. I naturally bestowed my mercy upon him. Yeah, he said, I gave him my transcendental potency and told Swarup Damodar, you should also bless him. And really, what Mahaprabhu wants is to establish Rupa Goswami, and he wants the mercy of all the devotees, headed by Swarup Damodar, to give their mercy to Rupa Goswami, that he will be the leader of the sampradaya. And the verse about eating the lotus flower stems that are flowing the Ganges, and that makes the residents of that place who eat them to be very beautiful, is establishing that by seeing the effect, one can know one can understand the cause. So the effect was that Rupa Goswami could understand the heart and feelings of Mahaprabhu. That was the effect. And and Swarup Damodar says, yes, that's the effect, and the cause is because you had already given him your mercy. So I'm going to stop here. It's a little hard for me to keep speaking, so we'll sing Hari Harai. Hari Harai Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopa Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Marana Mohan Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Garadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Jai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jai Te Vignana Shamista Puran Jai Gosai Char Mui Charana Tatabhatara Renu Mora Panchagram Kadir Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibhan Janame Janame More Amilas Jai Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabhan Radha Krishna Antya-lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindaban Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamodam Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamodam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gora Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhariju Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmawacharya Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshidhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai Namachari Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Primziko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gauravakta Vrinda Ki Jai Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai Srila Vrindaban Das Thakur Ki Jai Sri Chaitanya Bhagwat Ki Jai Nartam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Vishvavarenya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Sri Navadip Dham ki jai, Sri Mayapur ki jai, Saparshada Sri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Saparshada Sriman Mahaprabhu ki jai, Sri Kuladvip ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai, Sokel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Sevashram ki jai, Ganga Devi ki jai, Tulasi Manarani ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Sri Vrindaban Dham ki jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Govardhan, Sham Kuna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Ju ki jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, all the assembled devotees ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.